Good evening, friends. Welcome for the today's class. Today we are going to discuss two important topics which are part of the World Trade Organization, and another one is an important topic, that is BRICS. So in today's class we are going to discuss what is a dispute settlement board and what is BRICS. These two topics we are going to cover in today's class. Now, dispute settlement body. Why this dispute settlement body is so important? So in the previous classes, we have been discussing about how important the WTO, World Trade Organization, is placing a role in settling the disputes. So the General Council convenes as a dispute settlement body which solves the disputes between the WTO members. So such disputes may arise in respect to any agreement containing the final act of goodwill that is subject to the understanding on rules and procedures governing the settlement disputes. So this is an understanding of dispute. It is just like a rule. It is just like a rule which need to be followed by all the WTO members. We are calling it as DSU, Dispute Settlement Understanding. And the DSB has an authority establish the dispute settlement panels, refer matters to arbitration. So they can adapt a panel, they can have an appellate body and arbitration reports. So these are the main things what we need to understand. Means DSB has an authority to establish dispute settlement panels, refer matters to arbitration, adapt panels, and it can also go for the appellate body and arbitration reports. So in such reports, the authorized suspension of concessions in the event of non-compliance with those recommendations. Right. So this is how the mechanism, dispute settlement mechanism works. Right. So we'll put it in a simple way how the dispute settlement works. Now this is the mechanism where how the dispute settlement mechanism works. So in the first step, step one, what step one consists of? This is step one. Now step one is nothing but a member country files a complaint against the another country. So in step one, what is happening in step one? In step one, the most important thing is the country. So means a member country files complaint against the another member country. The issue may be a tariff issue, or issue may be a general issue related to tariffs, or general issue related to quotas, or maybe some any other issue related to the trade. So one member files a case against the another member country. So whenever it is a complaint is given, so it will go to the next stage and it will go to the next stage. And what happens in the next stage? It resolves the issue through the consultation or mediation. So 60 to 70% of the cases will solve either by consultation or the mediation. So this is what the most important step means. As we all know that when the problem goes to the next level, it is becoming more critical. So it is becoming more critical. So to understand the best option is to resolve the issue through the consultation or mediation. Once the consultation medians will get success, the problem will be solved here only. So problem will be solved and it will not go to the further stages. But if any party, either country A or country B, if they are not satisfied, or maybe one country is not satisfied, then they can go for the next stage, that is panel appointment. Means they are not satisfied. If maybe one party is not satisfied or two parties are not satisfied, what they can do? They can go for panel is appointed and which will conduct an inquiry and submit a report. So here, once if the consultation and mediation is not considered as a final decision, so either two parties or maybe one party can go for the panel appointment. And this panel appointment, what this panel appointment will, panel will be appointed. And this panel, again, what the panel will do, it will conduct the inquiry and a submit a report. And if the submitted report whatever the report they have submitted. If they are happy with the report, then the problem is solved at this stage. Now, if it is not solved, then the parties can approach the appellate body. The parties can approach the appellate body, and appellate body is the most important body as far as dispute settlement body is concerned. AB, isn't it? And the appellate body decision is a final decision. Whatever the again, what appellate body will do, again the appellate body will conduct inquiry and submit report. And this report, this DSB may accept or reject the appeals report. So this is how the mechanism works. The two or one country may file a case. Once they are happy, then the consultation only it will ends. They are not happy with the consultation, then they can go for the panel appointment. The panel appointment will conduct a review and they'll give the report. If they are not happy with the report, they can go for appellate body, and appellate body condition is a final condition. So this is how the dispute settlement mechanism works. Now coming to the in-depth analysis of appellate body, what exactly this appellate body is. The appellate body was established in 1995 under the Article 17 of DSU. Just now we are talking about dispute settlement understanding. So as per this 17 article, there has been under the 17 DSU. So 17 of understanding rules procedure governing the settlement of dispute DSU. It is a standing body of 7 persons that hear appeals from reports issued by the panel in disputes brought by WTO members. So these DSU is made up of rules and procedures governing the settlement of disputes. It is a standing body of 7 persons that hears appeal from reports issued by panels in the disputes brought by WTO members. Now, the appellate body can uphold or modify or reverse the legal findings and conclusion of a panel, and appellate body reports are adopted by dispute settlement body DSP. And unless all the members decide not to do so, the appellate body in its seat in Geneva, Switzerland. So appellate body has an important issues to be discussed here. So that we need to understand. Currently, the appellate body is unable to review the appeal given its ongoing vacancies. The term of last sitting appellate body members expires on 30th November 2020. So right now the appellate body is not 100% work functioning fully. So because minimum 3 members should be there to solve a quorum. Minimum 3 quorum should be there to solve any dispute and as per DS. So this right now, the appellate body is facing the problem. And for this issue, the expert says that US is the major problem. US is blocking the appointments of the appellate body members. Now, appellate body members has a tenure of 4 years, isn't it? And the same members can be reappointed. They can reappointed. So US is blocking the appointment of appellate body. The main reason is, so whatever the issues related to US or maybe issues with the US with other countries, if any if any party will go to appellate body, so at appellate body, the US is not winning the cases. US is getting defeated most of the cases when they are going for appellate body. That can be a one reason. And another reason is they don't want a WTO. So they want to replace WTO with another organization which is dominated by USA. So the USA was in the news that it is continuously blocking the appointment of appellate. That is what the recent news says. Right. So there are certain disputes which we can going to study now. The first appellate body, the issue is that issue is between the complainant. Complainant is USA and against India, against in India. So they filed a case. They approached WTO dispute settlement body regarding the issues. That what is the issue is the prohibitions imposed by India on import of chicken pigs on from US due to concern about avian influenza. Now, what Indians claims that we are not going to import any chicken or pig meat because if the Indians, as an Indians, if we are consuming those meat in India, India is affected with a virus called avian influenza, which is causing a lot of damage to the Indians. So now US has dragged India to WTO by saying that intentionally India is doing like that. So Indian avian influenza measures are inconsistent because they are not based on the risk assessment. So India has failed to prove whatever the allegations against the US. So in this case, US has won the case and India has lost the case. So this verdict is in the favor of USA. Now coming to the second case is so this is uh, India is a complainant here. The US is the competing party, any other party. Now, what India sought further consultations. So, US imposing higher fees on certain applicants from L1 and H1B visa categories on non-migrant visas. So, this is still in the consultation and dragging the stage. Now, coming to third one. So, complainant is US, complainant US, and the case was filed against India. Case was filed against India. Now, what is the case was the domestic content requirements imposed by India on solar power are developed under the Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Scheme. And the appellate body upheld the panel findings that India's DCR measures was inconsistent with the WTO non-discrimination obligation. So United States has complained that so whatever the agreements as per the WTO, India is buying all these components, particularly the solar panel components from the local vendors. So by that we are facing an issue. This was is also a case by USA. Like that, there are two other cases also, which in this Japan is a complainant and another one is United States. So friends, if you see that under WTO DSB dispute settlement, more than 500 cases are filed by USA on different countries. Now you see the importance of developed country. So USA is filing more cases on countries like India and other developing nations are underdeveloped countries. So more than 500 cases are uh, running and filed by the US. So these are the few cases where we can give examples. Right now we'll move to the next topic, that is BRICS. BRICS is one of the important topic which we are going to discuss right now. Now, what is BRICS? Now, coming to the topic, what is BRICS here? Now, what is BRICS? Origin of the group. Now, how this BRICS? BRICS is an acronym for Emerging Economies of the World. So, BRICS is known as Emerging Economies of the World. It consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, because these five economies are going to rule the world in the coming days. So, and all together they form countries called BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. In 2001, the Goldman Sachs economist Jim O'Neill coined the acronym BRIC to describe the four emerging economies of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. But the group was formalized during the first meetings of BRIC foreign ministers in the margin of UNGA in the New York in 2006. So the first BRIC summit was held in 2009 at Russia. In 2010, South Africa formally joined the association, making it as a BRIC. So earlier it was only four countries. It was established by four countries, but later on in 2010, the summit which was held in 2009 at Russia, and in 2010, South Africa has also officially joined, and now we are calling it as BRICS. Yes, these are the BRIC countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So big countries has account for 43% of world's population, 23% of GDP, 17% of world trade, 26.6% of world land area, and 13.2% of voting power. So this is the statistics of the BRIC countries. So BRIC countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So if you see the important statistics that, so all these five countries will lead to the 42% of world population. So 42% population lives in these areas. Like India and China, these are the two leading, yes, largest populated country, number one and number two. And now coming to GDP is also 23% of the global GDP is from these five countries. So BRICS in number is not that easy to accepted by the developed countries like USA and Japan. Now, the third is 17% of world trade, means global trade 17% is coming from these three countries, and 26.6% area wise it is also covering. So now 13.2% of the world voting power is also with these nations. Yes, now we are going to discuss what are the BRICS initiative. Now, in June 2012, the BRIC nation pledged $17.5 million to boost the lending power of International Monetary Fund. So, in June 2012, the BRIC nations pledged $75 million to boost the lending power of the International Monetary Fund. However, the loan was as a condition on IMF voting reforms. So IMF has kept few conditions in giving that money to the BRIC countries. But in March 2003, during the fifth BRIC summit in Durban, South Africa, the member countries agreed to create a global financial institution intended to rival the Western dominant of IMF and World Bank. Yes. So in 2013, all the five countries, all the five BRIC countries come to conclusion that for every financial need, we need to depend on either IMF or maybe World Bank, which was led or which was supported by the Western, particularly US. So to become more self-sufficient, to become more independent, what all the big countries has agreed that they want to create a separate global financial institution. So means like IMF worldwide, they want to create a separate financial institution for the financial support, because we should not depend on the World Bank or the other system which is dominated by the Western countries. Yes. So in the process, what happens? They started they started understanding how to develop a new development bank. So during sixth BRICS summit in Brazil, the leaders signed the agreement for establishment of the new development bank. Yes, in 2014, like in previous fifth summit, they started that financially, if you want to be strong, you want to be a good financial countries. So they want the backup of the money and they want to develop a new development bank. So they want a new development bank need to be started here. And this was decided in 2014 in Brazil, where the sixth BRICS summit is going to take place. Now, the fertilizer declaration, that is the Brazil declaration, stresses that the NDB will strengthen the cooperation among the BRICS and will supplement the efforts of multilateral and regional financial institutions for global development. So, thus contributing to sustainable balanced growth and infrastructure creation in the emerging economies. Yes, the idea was very clear. The idea was very clear means they want to run a parallel financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank. So it was clearly observed by all the developing nations. So the declaration has stressed that the NBA will strengthen the cooperation among the BRICS and will supplement the efforts of multilateral and regional financial institutions for global development. So thus contributing to sustainable balanced growth and infrastructure creation in the emerging economies. So this was the second issue which was discussed. And third one was, since its inception in 2015, it has approved 80 projects in all of its member countries, totaling a portfolio of 30 million US dollars. So, since from its inception in 2015, it has been approved 80 projects. Yes, it was a good initiative. 80 projects was approved by its member countries, totaling a 30 million USD dollars. So this is what a good initiative by the New Development Bank. Yes. So these are certain data where you can see that what this data says that the New Development Bank was established in 2015 by big countries like Russia, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and China, South Africa. The bank membership is open to members of the United Nations. NDB commenced the admission of its first new member countries in the second of 2021. Now, even big countries joined by the other countries also, like Brazil, it was joined in 2015. Russia was joined in 2015. India was joined in 2015. China was joined in 2015. South Africa was joined in 2015. So later on, even Bangladesh also joined in 2021. UAE also joined in 2021. Even Egypt is also joined in 2021, and Uruguay is also joined in 2021. So total BRIC countries has started its showing its dominance with the other countries. Right now, BRICS want a contingent reserve arrangement also to face the crisis which are going to be affected the global economy and particularly the BRIC countries. So what they have decided is they want a BRICS contingent reserve arrangement in CRA. They want some amount that amount need to be stored or reserve, keep it on reserve, and they call it as contingent reserve agreement. So established in 2015, the 2014 declaration. The main aim of CRA is provide short-term liquidity support to members through a currency swaps to help mitigate the balance of payments, crisis situation, and further strengthen the stability. So here, if you see, the main aim is the short-term liquidity. Means whenever any country is there is a need of short-term liquidity facing the problem. So in those crises, this CRA will help you by providing the currency swap and mitigate the balance of payment crisis. So the main objective is to strengthen the financial stability. So all the member countries of BRICS should be financially strong. So they want to be financially strong. So in the process, what happens? They need a short-term liquidity in the emergency, and that emergency, whenever there is a requirement, they support the country. This is the one part. The next one is the initial total committed resources shall be USD 100 billion. So initially they started with 100 USD billions. So in general, seen as a competitor to the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. So now the just now I said BRICS countries want to start a parallel system in competition with the International Monetary Fund. Because always monetary fund is putting some restrictions or imposing some restrictions on the countries. So to avoid all those, so why can't we become financially strong? Why can't we become financially strong and strengthen our BRIC nations? So with that motto, even they have started National Bank, and also they want to keep some amount as a reserves, and they are calling it as a contingent reserve agreement. So all the countries are agreed on that. Initially, they have kept 100 USD billions of the initial commitment, and either directly or indirectly, you can call them as a competitor to IMF. Along with the new developed bank, use an example of increasing South-South cooperation. So this is what you need to understand. Yes. And now we are going to discuss what are the top five implications for India. So what is the impact? What is the impact on India? That is what we need to see. What is the impact on India? So the top five implications for India. So first one is stronger voice for the global south. Yes. The first point is India reinforce its role as a leader of the global south, push for reforms in UN, IMF, World Bank, better representation for the developed countries. Means India want to show its voice very strong. They want to show its voice very strong as a leader, as a global South leader. And they push the reforms in US, IMF, and World Bank for the better representation. So they need a strong voice as a global South. So this is the first point. And second one is boost to trade in the local currencies. Yes. So we are always talking about all these things are measured in terms of dollars. So now what they want to boost the trade. They want to boost the trade in the local currency. Now discussions on reducing the dollar dependency. Yes, now, all the BRIC countries feel that we are depending more on the dollar. That dependency should be reduced. The opportunity for India to expand rupee-based trade, especially with the BRIC partners. Especially when you are doing trade with these big countries, why can't you go with dollar? Why can't you use your currency? This was the second strongest point. This was the second because boost the trade in the local currency. Local currency means Indian rupees. That was a strong point by India. And third one is leadership in AI and tech governance. Yes, as you all know that friends, AI is ruling the world today. AI is facilitating all the organizations, all the countries, and even we want a leadership here. So, as our Prime Minister highlighted the inclusive AI framework, open scope for India, should open scope for India to shape global data governance and AI ethics standards. So now the Prime Minister of India is also focusing more on the policies, the leadership in AI and tech governance. This is also a very good initiative from the BRICS perspective. The last one, final initiative is climate and sustainable development cooperation. Yes, now world is moving towards sustainability. So support for Brazil's tropical forest forever front, potential funding for India's green transition, renewable energy, and climate resilience. So these are the top five implications of the BRICS summit, which was held in 2025. So these are the things which was initiated by all the BRIC countries, like strong voice of the global south, boost the trade in the local currency, leadership in AI, and climate sustainability. Climate sustainability are the important things which has focused. Yes, these are the things what you need to understand. Here there are two lines here. If you see the diagram, if you go, there is a rich north and there is poor south. Poor south. You can understand that these all are what these are rich, isn't it? So now these all are poor. All these are, isn't it? And this line is called as Brandt line. This line is known as Brandt line. Brandt line. Isn't it? So this is what you need to understand. Right, friends? So recap what we studied in the in today's class. So friends, we started understanding uh, what is dispute settlement body and how this dispute settlement body works very well by following DSU. And in this class, we also discussed how the dispute settlement will takes place by the various steps when the country files against the another country. And And after that, if they are not happy with that first stage, they can go to the other, and they can go up to the appellate body. And in today's context, the appellate body is not functioning well because appellate body, US is intentionally blocking uh, the appellate body issues. So these are the various activities of appellate body. And we have also discussed certain trade related issues by the complainant like US or maybe India or maybe Japan. And immediately after that, we started understanding on the role and importance of BRICS. Now the BRICS economies are uh, developing gradually, and how they are making difference at the global level that we have discussed. We also discussed the origin of the BRICS countries and what are the BRIC initiatives also we have discussed. And the establishment of new development bank we discussed. And the few more countries has joined in 2021, like Bangladesh, UAE, and Egypt, and Dubai countries joined. What are the even they have want to big countries want a CRA, that is contingent reserve arrangement, because whenever we are in the financial crisis, this will definitely help in getting out of the situation. Also, we have discussed. And what are the top implications with the summit which was held in 2025? That also we have discussed. And this is the line which says that the rich north and poor south. So this is about the BRICS. So thank you so much, friends, for joining for the today's class, and we'll we'll continue in the next coming class. Thank you so much, and I'm signing off for today's class. Thank you.